Meeting is being recorded.
Hey guys, I apologize. I have to go to
I
another
have to go
meeting.
to
Just
another
wanted to make
meeting.
sure that things were okay.
We're
So it's
good?
okay.
So it's okay.
Victor,
Victor,
is it open?
is it open?
Is it open
Is
so
it
other
open?
people
So
yet?
people yet?
Morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. We really appreciate it. And welcome to the Illinois Works Wraparound Services Community of Practice. This is our first one of the year for the month of May, and we really appreciate you all coming. And we are really glad that you're here to facilitate conversation with us today along our lines of wraparound services. And we also just wanted to add before we begin that a quick note is this session is going to be recorded. Today is really about learning from each other, what's working, what's challenging, and how we can better support each other. And so at the latter half of today's session, we will be doing a live viewing of how to maneuver the learning management system. And so I will also show where the recordings will be held on there as well. All right, so if we wanted to introduce ourselves to one another for today through the chat button that you all see, I believe it's on the bottom right of your screen. If you could all share your name, what organization you all are with, and if you could describe your workload in one word that kind of encapsulate it all at the moment, could you also add that as well? Thank you. And as those answers are coming in, I will have my co-facilitator, Shar, which I'll introduce in a second. She'll be able to just read those out for the group today.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
So we have Vicki Wilkins from Southwestern Illinois College, and her workload is bananas. Join the club.
Got it. Bananas. Okay.
We also have Janet Perales from Metropolitan Family Services, and hers interesting.
Good word. We can kind of interpret that how we may. All right. And so as a couple more maybe kind of rolling in, my next question is, would anyone like to expand on what they mean by bananas? Would anyone like to expand on what they mean by interesting? Just to kind of elaborate more so we can all kind of see where everybody's heads are at when it comes to wraparound services. Can we kind of elaborate on maybe why those words were chosen?
All right, Vicki said, yes, ma'am. At the college, we have a few programs that we're running any using sometimes. That's definitely understandable.
Definitely understandable. Thank you. Would anyone else like to share on how their workload is maybe a lot right now?
Janet said the workload can be consistent, but the needs of our participants varies from class to class.
Consistent, but it can vary. That's definitely understandable as well because all of our participants have different needs. Some of them may be a little similar, but even their situations may need a little bit more guidance than others. So thank you for sharing that. All right. If we don't have any others that are rolling in as of right now, we can definitely check on those a little later just to kind of see where everybody's heads are at as well. But as we move forward for today.
Oh, one moment, Olivia.
Yes.
So Vicki said Just a quick note, when I went to join the WebEx, it showed that the webinar was locked. It took a bit to join. See, there's just two of us as attendees. So
Okay. It was originally locked, and then we have a small attendance for today. Okay. Thank you for letting us know about that. We do normally lock the room right before the session begins, just so when everyone's able to join, we can get started pretty quickly. So I thank you for letting us know. And for attendance today, we did have people register, so they may be coming in a little later, but also with everyone's kind of workload at the moment, and maybe because it is the introduction, we'll see how many other participants are able to come in today. But thank you for giving us that side note. We'll definitely keep that in mind as we move forward for June. So I thank you for that. All right. So as a part of our Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship team, hopefully these names sound pretty familiar. So essentially you all are supported by a full Illinois Works team across program, grant, and technical roles. So some of the names that you all may be familiar with, of course, is Dr. Norman Ruano, our Deputy Director of Illinois Works, Mr. Dan Martinez, our Senior Apprenticeship Program Manager, Miss Monica Pruitt, who is one of our programmatic grant managers, Mr. Edwin Sanchez. We also have Miss Shariana Folse on the call today as well. She'll introduce herself in a minute. And then we have Mr. Robin Hovey, one of our financial grant managers. Miss Sue Ridings, our monitoring grant manager. We have Dr. Jeff Doolittle, who is one of our instructional designers and one of our professional coaches for professional development. We also have Dr. Carlita Alstead, who is providing technical assistance for today. She's also an instructional designer and a professional coach. I myself, I am Olivia Meisenbach. I am one of the technical writers for Illinois Works. We also have Mr. Shiva Sajamula, who is our virtual producer. And we have Dr. Gia Suggs. She is our professional development lead, instructional designer, and professional coach. So that is essentially pretty much our team for this year. So hopefully those names sound pretty familiar, as you probably would have spoken with a couple of our grant managers already. So we appreciate keeping that communication open as well. All right. So for our objectives for this meeting today, we're focusing on accessing services, identifying needs, and using this group as a resource. So by the end of this meeting, you'll be able to gain clarity on how to access wraparound services and identify the appropriate contacts for connection and support. Also enhance your ability to elicit wraparound service needs for program participants, as well as leverage the group to explore challenges that you all may be facing. And so we'll kind of be touching on what is most relevant for you all and kind of seeing where guidance or any kind of work on our side can be helpful as well. All right. And we also just wanted to add our schedule coming up. So for the wraparound service, communities of practice will be held on a monthly basis. These will focus again on just sharing best practices, challenges, and strengthening coordination across services to better support our participants and individuals and our teams as well. And so if you all are pretty familiar, if you're on the call, we already were able to register through the learning management system. But once again, when our walkthrough, I'll show you how to make sure that the rest of the dates are added to your calendar. But also we have our partner guide. Our Illinois Works partner guide has all of the dates in advance, especially if you all are coordinators for other roles, such as transition services, data entry, etc. So as for wraparound services, we have our next meeting on June 2nd of 2026. Again, it'll be 10 o'clock to about 11:15, and that will able to be registered through the Illinois Works LMS as well. So just a little reminder for when the next one comes up. June 2nd. All right, and I will kind of let Ms. Shariana Folse introduce herself, as she will be working with the wraparound service as our programmatic grant manager. Thank you, Shar.
thank you, Olivia. And thank you all for joining the meeting. 1 second. Okay. So I am Shariana Falls. I am a programmatic grant manager in our Upstate Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship program. So I am located in the Chicago office. I started with the Office of Illinois Works in about the 4th year of the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship program, as far as the actual grant and how long it's been in place. So I've been here with Illinois Works for a little over a year, but I do have over 5 years of experience in workforce development. I have too many years to count in grant management and just working with grantees. So that's just a little bit about myself. And we are going to go to the next slide.
Thank you, Shar. All right.
So now I want to talk about the process of wraparound services. So when you are looking with your participants, you'll know how the process works. The first thing you want to do is identify the need and what is the employment barrier, or just the barrier within them being a full successful participant in your program. So the process is actually identify the need, confirm the alignment, verify eligibility, approve, and follow up. So identifying need and employment barrier comes in your interview and your assessment. So when you are going through your orientation process and you're, building their enrollment file, there is a piece where your wraparound services are addressed, where you inquire with your participant to find out what their actual needs are. So one of the things that's going to be very important within that space is making sure that they know who to talk to about wraparound services. So when you're having your orientation, make sure that you do your introduction so they know who the wraparound service coordinator is, who the transition service coordinator is. Make sure that they're able to identify who those people are. The second thing is to confirm the service aligns with the program guidelines. So this is why it's so important to make sure that you're communicating regularly with your grantees, because if you see that they're having attendance issues, or just something is off, what you can do is ask those questions and be able to say, okay, is there some support that you need from us? How can we help you? And if it's something that is a barrier for attendance, it may be something that can be approved for a wraparound service. Okay, so that's next. You're also going to verify eligibility and documentation. So if you have someone who has not been given enrollment credit, but is still taking courses, we need to look at all of that. So make sure that they're eligible for specific things before you request approval, and have the documentation. So I recently received a request for, now it has not been approved yet, so I don't want everybody turning in requests for this. But there's a participant that is having, they have a broken phone, and that's how they communicate. That's their technology, different things like that. And so the request was, will we approve the service to get the phone fixed? So what had to be done is they had to send in the information to show us that this was an enrolled participant that is in program instruction. They also had to send the cost of the to fix the phone. And then we will discuss and decide if this is something approvable, because it's not an approved wraparound service, but it is a barrier. So I just want to encourage you all, if there are things that are barriers to attendance and barriers to success, you can always submit a request. So don't feel like that's something that you don't have the ability to do. As I said, after that, you submit for approval and document. And if you have an approved wraparound service that came through that process, when your fiscal person sends in, that information, you also have to send the document showing that it was approved by the programmatic grant manager. So I say all of that to say that it is a process, because what happens if they receive an invoice for a phone repair and that is not one of our approved wraparound services? The financial grant manager then come to the programmatic grant manager, say, is this something that you approved? So to expedite that process and just make it smooth, if you have the approval via email, make sure that you send that in with, you need it in writing, make sure you send it in with your invoice, or however you send your reimbursement documentation to the financial grant manager. You provide the service and you follow up on the impact. So if you have someone that received the wraparound service, one that's already approved or something that had to go through this approval process, follow up with the participant, see how that helped them. And this can be one of those things that you document for yourself to be able to show the impact of what they were able to achieve in your program and what they were able to receive based on being in the Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship program with the wraparound services that we provide. So I do have a few questions. I know we have a few people on here, but I do want to ask, when it comes to wraparound services, where does this process break down for you? When you're thinking about wraparound services and you're thinking about what you provide for your participants, where do you see a breakdown in how you're able to distribute those wraparound services, your abilities and things like that? Would anyone like to share? You can put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. Anyone? Because one thing I will say about Illinois Works, we do have a very robust wraparound services system, and we do provide we provide that. Okay, so Robert said mute is locked. So Vicky said our breakdown is transportation, and that said that was taken away. So transportation was not taken away. The only thing that was taken away was the specific gas cards. And that is something that was definitely a lot of conversation. So if they need bus cards, if they need Metro, things like that, those things are still available for participants. The only thing that are not included in that is the gas cards. So Janice said union fees are not considered wraparound. So union fees would be, I believe that would be transition services, if I'm not correct. So because wraparound services are only allowable while the participant is in the instruction period. So they have to be in that program instruction portion of the cycle. Because I know that we have paid union fees before. I've seen those requests come in. So just make sure that if there are union fees, that you send that information over. I know this isn't about transition services, but we will just need to make sure we know what the requirements are. All right. Okay. Next slide. Okay, so now we're talking about the connection for approval. So you have a participant, the participant reaches out to the wraparound services coordinator, shares the need for wraparound support, and then the coordinator communicates with the Illinois work staff. They review the need, the eligibility, and the alignment. And then the Illinois work staff gets back to the coordinator and they coordinate the delivery if it's approved. There has to be a clear communication chain to ensure services are appropriate and fundable, and also that the participant is talking to the right person. And that's why I was saying, make sure that they know who the wraparound service person is, but also what they should be speaking to them about. Because sometimes, they've just made a connection with one person and they tell them everything, but that's not a part of their role. So make sure that even within your team, they understand that if someone comes to them and they are outreach and recruitment, but someone comes to them and they're talking about wraparound supports, they communicate that with the person that can make that happen. Communication gaps are going to happen, and it's our job to make sure collectively that we do our due diligence. And so once again, this is why you can also say to a participant in the beginning, if right now you don't need wraparound services, but at a later date, you see that you have some barriers, make sure you speak to so and so. Keep that door open so that they know where to go for those supports. Is there something Illinois Works can do, or something you're within this conversation seeing that you could do to make coordination easier within wraparound services participants at Illinois Works? Do you feel like the participants do understand what wraparound services are and what wraparound services are available to them? Hey, Vicky said she thinks that they know. Okay. Anyone else? So this is your meeting. This is your meeting to communicate. I think orientation and the assessment helps to identify the needs. Yes, that really does help to be able to have that information very early on. And the earlier you get it, the better, because there have been situations where something happens at the end of the instruction period and there's a request that's made that we cannot fulfill because now they're in the transition portion. So we do try to make sure that if it's something that we can do, that we make it happen. Robert says we use the information to determine what guest speakers we will schedule during the cohort. That's good too. That's good too. Thank you, Robert. All right, next slide. This is my favorite slide. Where we talk about how wraparound services it works, because you have to build rapport. You have to build rapport with the participants because they have to trust you. They have to trust that they can come to you for these supports, not just because Illinois Works provides it, but there are some people that haven't had people that have been able to support them the way that you and your organization will be able to. So building rapport is so important, and making sure that they understand what we are offering. So the definition of rapport is why this is my favorite. Merriam-Webster says it's a friendly, harmonious relationship, especially a relationship characterized by agreement, mutual understanding, or empathy that makes communication possible or easy. And you need to build rapport, because in building it, you build that trust. They'll be willing to share their needs, and even long term, after they've graduated from your program, if you build that rapport, they will be there for it. They will come back, they will talk to you, they will bring you more participants as well to be able to experience what they experience within the Illinois Works Peer Apprenticeship Program with your agency or organization. Vicky says so true, and it is true. So let's go to the next slide.
I actually just wanted to ask a quick question, which Shar, you may get into in a little bit. I just wanted to ask to the group, what makes it difficult for participants to open up? So of course we try long and hard to build that rapport, but what do you all see maybe with your participants specifically? What makes it difficult for them to open up? And I also believe that you all should be able to unmute yourselves now. We had that little technical difficulty that we might have fixed. So if anyone would like to share off mute as well.
Vicky said nothing. They bring everything to the table.
There is also that. They may just need anything and they're be able to speak up about them as well, especially
Vicky,
when advocating.
Vicky said her mute is still locked. Robert said previous experience with programs that don't deliver like Illinois Works.
That's totally, I can totally see that too. Thank you.
And Janet said Vicky. So apparently they are coming to the table.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. I will pass it back over to you, Shaw.
Thank you. So as we continue to talk about rapport, you can't identify needs without trust. This is such a huge portion. Is someone unmuted? They figured it out. You can't identify needs without trust, and trust comes from rapport. So I guess the next question is, thank you, Vicky. Vicky says it's working now. How do you build rapport with the participants? What is your strategy to building rapport? Because everybody comes from different places, different backgrounds, different experiences. So what are you all doing within your organizations to build rapport? And if you can unmute yourself, please feel free to. We would love to hear your voices.
Right? Anybody. Okay, morning. Identify report.
Hello. Would anyone like to share?
I did see that Vicky raised a hand.
Okay.
Can you
Vicky,
hear me
you
now?
come off mute.
I'm off mute. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, and good morning, everyone. For our participants, we work kind of with our Metro East, even though we're on the Illinois side, that we're right there between Missouri and Illinois. So we have East St. Louis, Illinois, Belleville, Illinois. So we work with a unique population, and having family members who have attended SWIC as a student, to family members who've been in the programs before that we run, we're able to build a rapport with them through that way. And one of the strategies we use is we do a lot of talking prior to the beginning. You know, even beginning before orientation, we're sending out a lot of information, emails, and in the beginning during the interview stage, we start there building that rapport with them so they understand not just, hey, you know, hard, here's the rules, here's the program expectations, but we filter that in as well during the beginning so they understand that we're here for them, and that we, you know, if there are some things that our barriers, if they were to make the cut, as I should say, make the cut to get into the program, that we will assist them with certain barrier reduction items. So then they feel comfortable. That's why they bring everything in the kitchen sink and tell you, you know, about I need this and I need that. So then we're able to work with them then one-on-one to go over what we can and what we cannot do.
Thank you, Vicky. It's so funny because I had some more questions, but I think you answered them all because you answered how you build rapport. And one of my other questions were, when does it happen? And as you mentioned, you know, it happens throughout the process. You know, you are reaching out several times and giving them these different resources. And I think when a program gives information freely that they did not know about, participants do feel some sense of, okay, maybe they really do want me to, you know, be better. Robert says, oh, so Janice said during the interview, rapport is built during the questionnaire. They share out their experience and why they're interested in construction. Robert said, wake up with determination, go to bed with satisfaction, a great icebreaker. So it's really just having those conversations. In your experience, because everybody doesn't bring the kitchen sink. There's some people that come with a safe, a padlock, and a kitchen sink in there. So what makes it difficult for participants to open up, in your opinion, as you're working with them?
I would say the trust, they don't trust the system. The systems have failed them over and over. I saw Robert had put previous experience from other programs, and I 100% agree with that. You know, people tell you what they're going to do for you, and then they go ahead and, you know, give up their time and their life to get into the program. And then when they're there, they don't get the funds that they need to maybe stop their eviction notice, or, you know, trying to keep a light on, or you know, my favorite, I'm sorry, Shar, my favorite, transportation, gas cards, getting there. You know, they tell them, I'm sorry, Shar, I'm gonna stop. They tell them that things that they will do, and then it's not done for them. And
Yeah.
so they just stop trusting the system.
And then Janet also mentioned the participant might be prideful and asking for help. And so you know, this is not the Illinois Works demographic, you know, but it's more males than anything in our programs. And as men and as, you know, providers and things like that, sometimes it's just difficult to ask for help. Like, we should be able to figure it out. Janice said, especially participants that have a complete career change. Absolutely. Because this is something totally new. They don't know the ins and out or the ways of it. And so while when you really think about it, this is a lot to learn. If you've only had interest in the construction and trades, and then you get into this program, and it can move really fast. There's a lot of questions. You know, I can see where participants would be like, whoa, this is a lot. But it's a lot to be able to make you successful. Okay, well, thank you so much for all the feedback, for sharing your experience. This has been great. Next slide, please. And we're going to keep talking about building rapport because it's so important for wraparound services. And one of the things that we have to have is we have to have the 6 key tactics, and they're really more than 6. We're going to start here. You got to have genuine interest, showing sincere curiosity and engagement in the client's life, asking open-ended questions, and demonstrating genuine interest in their story. Empathy, understanding and sharing the feelings of others is fundamental. Putting yourself in their shoes, having active listening, reflecting back to your client's emotions, and validating their experiences is crucial. And when we talk about active listening, focusing fully on the speaker, showing interest through nonverbal cues, and responding thoughtfully. Your nonverbal communication, your body language, your tone of voice, facial expressions, they convey significant messages. So maintaining open posture, eye contact, and appropriate touch can enhance connection. We have to build trust. Demonstrating reliability, consistency, and confidentiality, which is so important. Like, nobody wants to tell you that they've been sleeping in their car, and then the next day 3 people are like, oh, I heard you sleeping in your car, I brought you some blankets. Like, absolutely not. So we have to keep things confidential. Keeping promises and honoring boundaries are also essential. Don't overpromise if you don't have the if you don't have the leeway to do that. So make sure that if you say something, that it's something that you can provide and that you can keep your word to. Respect, valuing the client's perspective, cultural background, and experiences. Showing genuine respect builds trust and fosters open communication. Cultural competence, understanding and respecting cultural differences, adapting communication styles and approaches to meet the needs of diverse clients. And I'm going to just real quick, when we're talking about the cultural competence and respect, I'm just going to share a very quick story. I used to, in my former career, I worked as an administrator for a childcare center, and we had a parent, I'm not sure what their cultural, what it was, but the father would not exchange money with a woman, and I collected the money. And he just wouldn't. I mean, he had to hand it to someone. I don't know what the whole deal was, but he wouldn't give it to me. So we really had to figure it out, because I didn't feel any kind of way about it, because I understood that this wasn't about me as a person. This was about him and his beliefs. And so it was so funny, because we did have a janitor at the time, because there were a lot of women in the building. And so I would have to schedule him to make his payments, and have the janitor come in just so he can take his payment. And I mean, it sounds like, oh my goodness, but we had to do what we had to do to respect that for him. So, of course I was like, why didn't you just give me the card and let me swipe the card? But that was not something that he was willing to do. And I just had to be okay with it. So now we're going to talk about common rapport building techniques. Having open-ended questions. Encourage clients to elaborate on their thoughts and feelings. That makes people feel good. That makes them think, Oh, they really want to know about what's going on with me. And even if they tell you nothing, no, I'm good, just bring that question up again and say, I know we talked the other day, you said you were good, you still okay? Let them, not just that one time, bring it up again. Hey, how are you today? Everything okay? You had a good weekend? Whatever. Just bring it up again. Make sure that they know that that wasn't a one-shot interview question. We're also going to reflect the feelings. Mirror back the client's emotions to show understanding. By summarizing, we recapitulate key points to demonstrate active listening and understanding. With self-disclosure, we're sharing personal experiences appropriately, and that can also build connection. The last thing I want to talk about is matching and mirroring, adopting the client's communication style to create rapport. If there's appropriate professional kind of conversation that you can have where you can meet them where they are, that's okay. And I think it's something that they would appreciate and understand. All right. Next, self-disclosure. Self-disclosure. Give me a second. By sharing personal experiences appropriately, that can build connection. So just like I talked about that situation with the parent, if this was something that was with a participant and they were talking about, something similar, that's what that self-disclosure. It wasn't anything inappropriate. It wasn't anything that I breached any confidentiality of any kind. I just talked about a situation where I was able to not only understand, but communicate how I navigated something. Did that, okay. She said, thanks. Because sometimes, they come in with these situations and we can absolutely relate to some of them. And we want to be able to let them know that there is room for growth and development. So if someone comes in and says, I dropped out of school and I got my high school GED and, this is my next step to try and do something different. And that may be a part of your story. It wouldn't be wrong to say, well, maybe, I dropped out too and got my GED and went to college and, now I'm here and I'm able to help other people. That would be a good example of self-disclosure. Okay, next slide. So now you get an amazing wraparound services assessment, interview, and role play. And myself and Olivia are going to be the interviewee and the interviewer. So I think I'll be the interviewer because I don't have
Sounds good. I'll be the interviewee. Okay.
All right. So, Olivia, we are so happy to have you with our Illinois Works program. We're going to give you an assessment to see how we can support you. And what I'm going to ask you is a few questions to not only let you know what we have to offer, but to just know what your immediate needs are. So
All right.
let's talk about how you're going to get to our location so that we can get you certified and graduated out of our program. Do you have reliable transportation to and from the program?
I do as of right now. I have been having some car troubles, but I think I should be able to have a reliable car.
Okay, so what's going on with your car?
Just car troubles. I mean, like my transmission has been going in and out. It's been kind of weird. I didn't change my oil for a while, so I'm starting to get some repercussions of that. But I mean, it should be fine.
So is the car your only means of transportation to get to the program?
I can take the bus too. I can take the bus. That's fine. I have a bus card.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you, we can support you with either of those. So if you can get some quotes for your car to see kind of what's going on, and maybe we can help with that. So get a few quotes and just please keep me up to date with what's going on, because even with the bus card, that's something that we can help you with as well.
Really? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate that. All right.
All right. So another portion of services that we can offer is if you have family members that depend on you while you're in the program. So is there anyone that you care for that will need some support while you're in class?
I do have a 4-year-old daughter. Yes.
Okay. Is there a place where she can go while you're in our program?
I can have her with my mom. So
Okay.
she'll be okay with that.
Okay, so keep me up to date with that, because we also provide childcare and family member care. If there's a cost, we may be able to support that as well.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. My mom is she's getting a little tired of watching her most of the time. So I think I'll definitely keep up with that.
And look into different childcare centers, find the pricing, see if there are any free programs.
Mhm.
But I'll follow up with you on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you have a computer or access to one?
I have access to one. I do have my own computer. It's
And
been a little wonky, but it's good.
Okay. Do you have the internet?
Yes, I do have internet through my house. Yes, so I do have internet.
If at any time your computer is needed and yours may be having some issues, let us know. We can't loan you one. You'll have to return it. We do have loaner computers.
Okay, loaner computers that I can return, but I can use it for the time being for class.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's helpful. Thank you.
Do you have a driver's license?
I do. Yes.
Okay. And there's nothing. It's clean and clear.
It's about to be expired, but it's still okay as of right now.
Okay. So once again, keep us up to date. When you're renewing it, some additional support to help you get that. Just communicate with us.
Thank you. Okay, I'll definitely keep you updated. I appreciate all of these questions as well.
Do you feel comfortable managing your money?
No.
Okay, so we are going to make sure that we sign you up for the financial literacy classes, and that is something that we offer within this program. You'll receive a financial literacy certificate when you complete it.
Okay. With the financial literacy class, will that also be helping me with like bill management and stuff like that, or would that kind of be dependent?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll all
Thank
be
you.
showing you how to manage your fiscal situation.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. I know you said you have a computer. You feel comfortable using your computer in the applications, like what about Word, Excel, things like that?
I only really use the internet on it. I don't necessarily use any other applications or like Word, Excel.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
if that's
if
something
that's
that you're
something that you're
interested
interested
in,
in,
we we can
we
look
can look
into
into
some
some
digital
digital
literacy
literacy
programs.
programs.
We
We
partner with
partner with
the
the
library, and they
library and they
offer
offer
some
some
digital
digital
literacy
literacy
courses that you
courses
will
that
be
you
able
will
to
be able
attend.
to attend.
Wow. Okay. That's helpful too. Thank you, especially through this program. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Yes.
And if there
And
are
if there
other
are other
things that you
things
see
that
as
you
a
see as a
barrier
barrier
to
to
attendance to our
attendance to our
program,
program,
please feel
please feel
free
free
to reach
to
out
reach
to
out to
myself.
myself.
If I'm
If
not
I'm
in the
not in the
office,
office,
you
you
have my
have my
contact
contact
information,
information
and just
and
reach
just
out
reach out
so that
so
we
that
can
we
get
can get
you what you
you
need
what
to
you
be
need to be
successful.
successful.
Thank you, Shar. I really appreciate all of this help today. And I think it'll definitely be helpful moving forward and staying in this program as well.
All right. Well,
Right.
welcome
Well,
to the
welcome to the
program.
program.
Thank
And
you.
And
you'll be
you'll
talking
be
to some
talking
other
to some
people
other
who will
people
have
who will
more
have more
questions
questions
about
about
the program
the
and
program and
the things that you'll
things
be
that you'll
working
be working
on
on
and your next
and your next
steps
steps
to
to
apprenticeships.
apprenticeships.
All right. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
And
And
sing.
sing.
Got it.
So
So
I'd like you all. Oh, everybody is clapping their hands. So what does that look like in your program? Is it comparable to that? Do you all have a different way? Is it just the questions? What does this look like in your programs? Vicky said it's one-on-one and going over those questions, having a conversation too. And like I said, that's that building rapport to be able to, have those conversations and, recall, okay, you said you have a computer, but, because some people would just assume, oh, they got a computer, they must know how to work it, but they may not know how to work the applications needed. So, I think this is a good practice for you all to do within your team, just so you see what this conversation looks like, because it is a one-on-one conversation. So whoever is that wraparound services person, to have them kind of model that every once in a while, make sure that it's working well with the participants and it's getting all those questions answered and nothing's being missed or left out. The tone is consistent, the rapport is being built. So I just encourage you all to follow up with, your different teams. And if you have questions that you ask the participants, that you all do. If you have your, employee trainings and team buildings and things like that, to maybe do some of that role play and modeling what these conversations look like. And I believe it's back to Olivia.
Yes. Thank you so much, Shar. I really appreciate our interview. And I really appreciate the conversation we've had about rapport and what wraparound services can really look like in a realistic version for a lot of the participants that people may have. So, as I kind of spoke on before, we'll kind of be touching on what resources and kind of how to navigate the learning management system. Now that we've been able to log in and we're here today, what else does it have to offer? And so with this, what is a community of practice? Essentially, it is collaboration, resources, and support. So the LMS is your hub for tools, recordings, supports, and is delivered through our communities of practice. So some of you may be in connection with several other roles. Again, I said transition, data entry, student support, etc. So if we're looking at how those are kind of navigated through the LMS, I actually will show in 1 second what that actually looks like. But through the wraparound service community practice resources, these are just a few that we have, but also if you're looking for a certain kind of resource, if you're looking for a certain kind of reference, certain kind of questions about the grantee manual, things of that nature, please let us know as well. And so what we have is our wraparound service meeting recordings. All of these meetings will be recorded and put in our LMS just through like April, May, June, July, etc. And we also will have our wraparound service presentation slides. So what you all see today will be available on the LMS as well. We also will have the Illinois Works Grantee Manual guidance. And so if any of you guys ever have any questions on where certain pages are, because I know, or I believe it's I think it's like 300 plus, almost 400 pages of work within the manual. And so since that's kind of a lot, we could probably help you kind of navigate a little easier when specifically looking for wraparound service information. We also have best practices that we can put on there as well. Acceptable transition documents if you're looking from wraparound to transition services. We also will have resource links, such as like if we're looking for a partner guide, if we're looking for any other resources for the Illinois Works program. And I think most importantly, we also have our discussion board Q&A, where really we can all collaborate with each other for different challenges we all may have, how other organizations have really worked through those challenges, or just collaborating on how to figure out what needs may need to be met, or anything of that nature, especially if we're in similar locations, things of that nature. I think it's just kind of some of the resources that we have that we've thought of that we think be beneficial for you guys to have on the LMS. All right, so before I get into the community Q&A, I'm actually going to do a walkthrough of the LMS online. So I'm quickly going to pull this up. All right. Okay, so you all should be able to see my login page for the Illinois Works Learning Management System. And so after logging in, and a couple of your slides may look a little different depending on what roles you're put in, but under my courses, we have our calendar. I have communities of practice set up for today. And so looking through here, of course, we have our session that is for today. And so all of that information, of course, you can add to our calendar. If you wanted to add the rest of the sessions for the rest of the year, those should be available as well. And we do have the dates on there. So again, June 2nd is our next one. And then if we also just click the back button here, this is kind of our big homepage for the wraparound service coordinator communities of practice. So here, essentially, you'll find your collaborative spaces, you'll find your resources, and opportunities to connect with peers and industry leaders. And so we also encourage to explore, participate, and contribute to this learning management system, since this is kind of the hub for all of this information. And so let's say you may have found out that you may need a resource from your grant manager, but you don't know if they would actually be able to help you with this for your participant. Maybe someone else adds in the LMS that they have been able to reach this with a participant, and maybe it has gone through and been able to be funded, etc. And so on here, we can go to the course content where our instructor-led courses are, but also if we're looking for an online course for resources and collaboration, this is where we're able to really look at, I'll press view so it can be a little bigger, our lesson details, our reviews, and our collaboration. So on here is a little bit of our session wrap up of introduction of where communities of practice for wraparound services are and how we can share important information. We also have lesson details. This is where the recordings will be held. And so we have them set out until December. So those should be added on here. You'll be able to click on them and hopefully you'll be able to kind of skip through what parts you may need. We also have a review section. So if you wanted to just leave certain comments about certain recordings, or maybe you have a question about what needs to be touched on a little further, or things of that nature, we can add comments here. But what I believe is the most important is the collaboration page. So this is where you can create a post, you can have a comment that you have, you can add a challenge that maybe you're going through, just asking for advice, or anything that may just be helpful for your role as a wraparound service coordinator. And so these are really the ways that we can really utilize the learning management system. And so this is just what I wanted to show really quick to make sure that everyone felt comfortable utilizing the learning management system and how it's able to basically see an overview on what is necessary and what's helpful for you all through the learning management system. All right. So I did kind of walk through a lot right there. Does anyone have any specific questions when it comes to navigating the learning management system? Or just any questions about the community in general before we go on to our evaluation? Right? Are there any questions in the chat that we can see?
There are no questions at this time.
Okay. Well, we do have the learning management system that you all can use to ask any more questions. We also recommend just speaking with your grant managers if you have anything as well. But we can close out for right now. I am actually going to start the feedback portion to just see what can be helpful. I also just wanted to put one more time, June 2nd is our next meeting. And we can also look through the learning management system to see if you guys have any certain sessions that you would believe would be more helpful for us that we can help you all with as well. So just June 2nd, make sure that's on there. All right, so we will move on to our feedback session for today. Here is our Mentimeter information. I bet you all are pretty familiar with how to go about this Mentimeter. And so we have on the right side of your screen our multimedia viewer, where if you would like to press that blue continue button, you will be able to log into our Mentimeter, as well as the Mentimeter information. If the QR code or the continue button may not work for you all, the Mentimeter information is also put in the chat. All right. I will transfer on over to the Mentimeter. All right. Okay. So can everyone see this screen for the Wraparound Communities of Practice Interviews Mentimeter? All right. Thank you, Shar. So please share your views on this training by rating the following statements, 1 from lowest, 10 to highest. To what extent did it meet your expectations? How likely you would attend similar events in the future? and how likely you are to recommend this training to others. So I see some of y'all already got in there, which is great. Thank you all for this feedback. We really appreciate it. For moving on to our next one. Right. I see about 8 people who may have been able to log in. The course was relevant to what I wanted to learn about the subject matter. Strongly disagree, or excuse me, strongly agree, neither agree nor disagree, somewhat agree, strongly disagree, somewhat agree. Okay. That looks good. We appreciate this feedback for today. I plan to apply what I learned. We kind of talked about a lot today, so we really appreciate this as well. So we have strongly agree, strongly disagree, somewhat disagree, neither agree nor disagree, or somewhat agree. All right. Thank you all. Right. What improvements? I see NA on here, but I also see develop a list of resources for each area and share. Okay. Develop a list of resources for each area. Thank you. Continue to do mock interviews. The modeling is super. Continue to share how to navigate the LMS at the end of all professional development offerings. And can we participate in the interview skit? Why not? Sure, maybe we'll try that for next time. But we really appreciate this feedback, and we'll keep the interviews in mind as well as the resource list. What did you find effective? If we make changes, what would you recommend we keep? So the mock interview was great. Thank you. All right. NA, thank you. Mock interviews, got it. Interview, LMS review, and general rapport. Thank you. This is very helpful for us, you all. Thank you. All right. We'll just keep moving on. Just for the sake of time, we want to make sure we can give everyone their time back for today. And is there anything else about the course you think we should know? Right. NA, none at this time. Thank you. Right. Well, if there is no other comments that you all would like to make, at least for today, we just want to thank you all for being here today. We really appreciate meeting for our first wraparound service coordinator communities of practice for today. I hope you all are coming back for the June session, and we'll touch on anything that maybe you guys have more questions on. We can see what interviews we can add as well. And so I appreciate all of the conversation today. Thank you, Shar, for a great facilitation, and we will see you all soon. Have a great day, everyone.